What's more perfect than a pocket? Hi, I'm Natalie, owner of the Sewing Studio, and today I'm going to show you how to add a zippered pocket to just about any project. Alright, so let's get this project started. So for this project, it comes with a pretty simple set of supplies. What we're going to need is any project that you'd like to add your zipper to. It could be a tote bag, it could be an apron. Then you'll need a small zipper. This is just a 14-inch zipper. And then you'll need a couple of fabrics to create the pocket. So let's go take a look at putting that together. One thing that I want to make sure that you have on your pocket pieces, however big you want the slit to be in your project, you're going to add an inch on either side of that spot and then at least an inch above it. You can go from an inch to an inch and a half on the top of the pocket, but it's really important that you have that space so that you can sew up those sides. And also here, we're gonna make this slit a 1/2 inch wide. That's what works best with those zippers. And so I actually made me a template of my pocket, and this way later if I want to make the same size pocket I can. And it makes it nice so that we can lay it against that pocket piece and actually just trace around the outside edges with our pen. That's how I created this box. And then here in the center, what we do is we're just going to kind of draw a V on either end. That's where we're going to cut in a little bit. Now that we have our zipper placement marks here on our bag, the first step is actually to just walk along this line around the outside and create the space for that hole. When you get to the end, you're just going to make sure your needle's in your fabric, pick your presser foot up and pivot. And do the same thing on each of the corners. Making sure to backstitch at the beginning and end of those seams. All right, so then what you're gonna do is actually take your scissors and snip this open. I just take and kind of curl it together and you can create a little spot to start. And then you're gonna work your way out to the edges of those lines. And then when you get to the edge here, that's why I make these marks, is you're going to V out to each corner, making sure not to snip the threads that you just sewed. And that'll make it easier for this fabric to fold inside of that gap. All right, so now that we have sewed that first piece of the pocket to our bag, now we need to flip that through that opening and actually press it down. And that's what creates that hole for the zipper to be placed behind. So we're just gonna take and flip our bag inside out, and then we're pulling that fabric through that opening in that hole and then pressing it back. So just take and make sure that you have your edges laid back even on that opening, and then we're ready to add that zipper. What we need to do is center the zipper in our space so that we have it ready to go back to the sewing machine. And so all we're gonna do is take and I center it underneath. We have such a long zipper, we don't have to have it very close to us, and that actually keeps that zipper pull away from our sewing machine so that we don't have it getting into the presser foot. And so we're just gonna take and make sure that it's centered in between that slit. And then I think it's easier to take my pins and go from one side, go underneath the zipper teeth, and then go into the other side of that slit. And that way I can even out at each of those pulls. So I'll do that several times because it certainly makes it easier for us to sew in a minute if it has a bunch of pins in it. And see, that way I can adjust as I go. So I'll finish taking care of that, and then we'll take it over to the sewing machine and actually get our zipper attached to our bag. We're going to stitch through all the layers, and we're top stitching. So I've moved my needle all the way to the left, and I'm catching my J foot, my general purpose foot here just on the inside of the metal. and that'll keep me straight across here so that I have a nice looking seam as it goes around. Also, I'm starting here on this side of the zipper. The zipper pull is back here behind the machine right now, and I'll go down and around and stop at about the same point. That'll allow me to pull my zipper inside and then go back and finish up. We use a lot of pins through the zipper to just make sure that it's staying still. Okay, we're going to come up to that corner, make sure that our needle is down in our fabric. We'll lift our presser foot and turn and pivot, and then that way it'll stay in the zipper and hold it for us while we turn. Okay, and then we'll get to the top of that and we're going to pivot and turn again. On this top side, since we don't have the pins holding the zipper in, just make sure that you're keeping the space between your zipper and the side of this bag about the same distance. It just makes it look a little nicer. Okay, so again, I'm stopping here. I'm going to back stitch and cut it loose. Okay, we'll pull our project out. And then what I'm going to do is take the zipper that's here behind our bag and we're going to pull it through so that the zipper, we have the ability to open and close our zipper. So once I have that done, you can even move it all the way back. That way it's out of your way. We will put it back underneath our presser foot and we're going to finish going around that little bitty edge right there. And making sure to back stitch again when we start so that it doesn't pull out later. Just like we saw on the other side, we're going to make sure our needle is in our fabric. We'll pivot, drop our foot, and then pivot one more time. Okay, and then we'll cut it loose. All right, pull it out the best we can. And now we have a functional zipper. Now we actually need to sew the other fabric on the back to create the pocket. So first, what I'm going to do is take and snip these zipper even with the outside of my pocket edge on both sides. And I snip it even with the fabric so that it will catch there inside our seam. And that way it'll be finished and it won't be dragging inside your pocket. So now that I have that even, we're just going to take the other fabric for our pocket and match up those seams, and we're just going to sew around the outside of this. It's a little bit easier if you will sew the top edge, the bottom edge, and then come back to the side seams. Seems to work a little bit better in our machines. So here I flipped it over and I did add a few pins to help hold it for me. I had my needle over to the left for the top stitching, and now we're going to put it back at center. Move our needle over to center. And then we're just going to sew across the top of that. Making sure to match up our sides. Now that we have that one taken care of, we're going to come back and flip it over and grab the bottom edge of the two pieces and sew across that. That way we get those fabrics to lay a little nicer. And now I'm just gonna come back and grab those side seams. Again, I'm gonna flip it over so that I can see this zipper a little bit better. And you'll just start at the bottom and work your way to the top. Sometimes where the zipper gets attached, it can get a little bit wrinkled and pulled. It's completely fine. Just make sure that you catch that in your seam so that it finishes off that pocket and doesn't leave a hole right there where that is. All right, and we just have one more side. So when you've gone around all four sides, you can also come back with a zigzag stitch and just run that over the edge, and it'll help finish off your pocket. If you have a serger, you can also serge around the outside of your pocket, but that pretty much finishes us off. So on the other side, you can see that we have a functioning zipper pocket. So hopefully that taught you how to add a little flair to any project that you can come across. I love having little zipper pockets. It just adds that nice little touch to anything that's already created or something you're creating yourself. So I really hope that you enjoyed and learned something new with me. I'll catch you on the next time. If you liked what you saw today, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to receive those notifications, make sure you click on the bell icon. Thanks for letting us turn your inspiration into a creation.